in the very beginning, even when you're learning internal martial arts, the first experience is still external, right? You have to first know the position. I think that is a really interesting thing that people need to understand is when you're pursuing martial arts, it has to be external first so that you know what position your body needs to get to before the internal can even happen. My first experience was from an external perspective in understanding body mechanics and the building of the internal architecture, the mindfulness that really comes along with that. Because when you're doing external martial arts, you can get away with very sloppy form and positioning if you have enough strength to compensate for that because things happen so fast. Like you're not spending any long period of time in one position that you can fake through your form without good positioning. With internal, slowing it down, you really have to be in the right position to be able to do those movements well and connected. So that was like the first thing was really bringing the mind into the body to understand body positioning and building an internal architecture. So I found that fascinating and it was so hard. I went from being a very like where the external martial arts came so easily to me. I went from not knowing anything, not being able to do anything, to being able to do so much so well so quickly. I kind of thought that Tai Chi would be really easy then because it's the thing that the older people did. And I realized that Tai Chi was actually so much harder when you take it to depth and you're really trying to learn it in depth. So that fascinated me, and I kept wanting to just get better at it. I couldn't understand why I wasn't good at it. I kept pursuing it further and further, and then I noticed that the people who were doing really, really well, who had really good ability, they were the ones who actually spent a lot of time in tree pose meditation and standing tree pose meditation. And Master I Ping always said, if you want to advance your Tai Chi skill, you have to spend a lot of time doing tree pose meditation. That's the only way. So I was never a meditator. Like I did not enjoy meditation when I was younger. I
Right.
My husband actually was doing sitting meditation and he was trying to get me to do sitting meditation and I could never do it. My mind was just too active. I couldn't stay still sitting in meditation. And so it was actually the standing tree pose meditation that started my meditation practice because it gave me something to really focus my meditation on, and that was building the internal posture and structure and the alignment. Because unless your body can get into a very, very particular position, the Tai Chi mechanics just don't work. The energy that you need to flow in Tai Chi won't flow unless your body's in a very particular position. The goal is to get your body into a very specific alignment where you develop this vertical position where you match two meridian points in your body to be perfectly aligned vertically. So the crown of your head is the Bai Hui point. That points straight up, and the Hui Ying point at your perineum points straight down. And when you can get these 2 points to align, then you have the ridge pole in your body to support your internal architecture. And a lot of people focus on these 2 points because that it's a key to the alignment. And in Qigong practice and in Tai Chi practice, this is what we align because that is then allowing the energy to flow up through the body and align all the other meridian channels to be able to flow properly. But in Tai Chi, there is a very important additional positioning that we're trying to achieve in our tree pose meditation. And that is to be able to expand the dantian in the body, which stores the energy in your body. And it's to relax that lower back. So the acupoint in that lower back, there's a point called the Mingmen, which is the gate of life. It's directly opposite your belly button in your back. Trying to get this point to be the point that expands furthest to the back. And this is really challenging because this is where everybody is so stiff. If you try to put your back against a wall, you'll notice that there's a curve that is in that lower back where most people, they would be able to fit their hand through the space between the wall and the back. So what we're trying to do is actually loosen up the back and the torso enough that this space can expand, and the lower back, that Mingmen point, would be the point that actually presses furthest into the wall. When you're able to achieve that positioning with the positioning of the Bai Hui and the Hui Ying to align vertically, then that's actually the start of your Tai Chi internal practice. Until you can get there, everything that you do in terms of movement stays on the external side. You can't actually get to the internal until you're able to do this. And this is so hard to do. So that is like the tree pose practice. And Master Rai Ping has always said, if you want to develop your martial ability, it's actually through your tree pose standing that will get you there. Doing drills and techniques, those won't actually develop your internal martial arts ability. Those will just teach you how to do some drills and techniques. If you really want to understand Tai Chi as an internal martial art, you have to be able to understand internal through standing meditation. Just because Master Rai Ping focused on tree pose so much, and I could see with my own eyes the people who actually spent time doing tree pose practice, they had more ability than the people who just did forms practice. When you're able to actually feel yourself relax and every muscle in your being let go, then it's such an interesting experience that makes you want to go further to see how far can this go. So like the most interesting thing was before I even started studying any martial arts, I mentioned that I was a athlete in my youth. I tore my ACL for the very first time when I was 13 running track, and I actually ran track all the way through high school, my senior year in high school, and I also played tennis in high school. And even before that, I actually fractured my left ankle just running. I was actually in dress shoes, that brand new dress shoes with no traction, running down a hall that was slippery, and took this major spill and I fractured my left ankle. This was when I was like 10. I think I was 10. So I was just riddled with so many injuries. And after I graduated high school, and then also when I was younger, I had a very weak constitution. I was sick all the time. I was always on antibiotics. I was sick constantly. I had a weak constitution, and I kept re-spraining my left ankle because it was weak from the fracture. I didn't get any strength or conditioning program in my tennis because I played tennis and I didn't have a strong shoulder, and all the serving that I was doing in playing tennis injured my right shoulder. I had my right knee that wasn't 100% after that knee surgery, and my mom knew of this Qigong master that her friend was studying under. And my mom brought me to see him. He had his whole family were Qigong masters, so his wife and his two sons. So I went to go and spend some time with them. And that experience was my first experience with chi and energy and some of the crazy things that you just really can't explain. And I think a lot of his energy just came into me. I don't know. Like then after I
Right.
came back to the United States, I started just sitting cross-legged everywhere. And now, as I got older, I saw all the Qigong masters sit this way. Like because this is actually how you align your Bai Hui and your Hui Ying just very naturally when you sit cross-leg, and it opens up your quad and all of these things. That the quad is the Chinese anatomy term of your pelvis, your groin, like your upper thigh, lower abdomen. And this is the most important area to have mobility and strength and flexibility if you want to be able to do martial arts, especially internal martial arts, to draw the energy and the power from your feet, your legs up your body. If you don't have an open and strong quad, you can't bring that energy and power from your legs up into your torso and out into your arms. So just this naturally sitting with your legs in cross-legged position, it just puts you into that position all the time. And then also we connected. So the Qigong master said, if you ever feel like you need energy, just think of us
Mm.
and draw our energy. But the only thing that you need to do after you do that is to make sure that you send your gratitude back to us. When I think back, like what got me to be able to make that change over to Tai Chi so young, like in terms of most people's introduction to Tai Chi practice, they come to it when they get older, right? That's like my every person who I talk to who came into Tai Chi older and then went on to pursue it as a lifelong journey, they all said the same thing. Why didn't I know about this when I was younger? Why didn't, like, if only I
Yeah.
started it when I was in my 20s, right? So I had the fortune of actually starting it in my 20s because of all of these circumstances, and being able to connect to it. I really do think that it was because I was primed from this experience with the Qigong masters in Shanghai that kind of incepted into me this understanding that Qi is a special thing that you can't just fully explain. You have to experience, and being open to that, I think really helped me to be able to pursue my practice with an experience that others may not be able to. Tai Chi, it is a lot about sense memory. This is a term that people who are really advanced in their practice will talk about. You have to bring into your body a sense that you can recall. It has to be something that you already experienced. Tai Chi isn't something that can just be theoretical. You won't actually have an intention when there's nothing real to intend. Right? Then you're just kind of intending pretend. For all the way up until now, I thought that it was my meeting the Qigong masters that started me on this journey. But now I actually realize that it was even further back than that. Do you know of the physicist Nassim Haramein? And he studies black holes and he connects it with energy. And if you look at the motion of black holes, you'll see the double torus. And he shows that if you look at the motions from the top view, it actually makes the yin yang symbol. And that energy of the black hole is actually an expansion. It's not a sucking in like a lot of people think. And when I saw his research, it was really, really profound because the dantian is this area that is crucial to your body's energy. It lives in your body right above the Huiying point. A lot of people actually don't know where the actual position of the dantian is. They think it's a little further in front, but it's actually more recessed in the back. And the dantian, this is an area that has to constantly be able to move. The dantian movement paired with your quads ability to move is what generates all of your power. And the dantian rotations, I had always felt like ever since I could remember, a feeling that I couldn't describe, I couldn't explain, but it always felt like I had a black hole inside my body, in my abdomen. And like that feeling like there's all this motion that's happening inside my abdomen. And I didn't understand what that was. And now I realize that like that is your power source. I've been feeling it my whole life. I didn't understand it. And it was through my study of Tai Chi that I could finally able to tap in to let that actually provide the energy and the power to fuel my body. And that's like the source
Wow.
of your power. So it's like I
Hopefully
always had it.
free.
Oh, it was always there. And it's always there in everyone.